Hi, I'm Sean, this is Nathan, and we're here at Barely Tactical with...
Type 81M underfolder. You saw us unbox it? Why not watch us shoot it?
We of course picked the nicest, rainiest day to do this, so we do this for you, remember that.
And only you.
Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
So, as with all firearms that we review, we have a few standards that we like to go through and some categories. So the first one is value. This is extremely good in the value category, I'd say. We're going to harp on this a lot. We're in Canada. We're very limited with what we can have. And yeah, what did you pay for this?
So this thing was like $1,100 brand new, toss in your $30 for shipping or whatever it was. And people are going to think, holy Christ, $1,100, that's an expensive gun. Well, living in the Great White North, we don't get $400 Anderson ARs, we don't get sweet PSA AKs. Almost like those platforms are just outright prohibited.
Weird.
When you stack this against its peers, it's an incredible value. At $1,100, it mops the floor with the WK 180s, 181, the Crusaders, like all these other guns in its, we'll say in its bracket, in its weight class, they're $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, $2,000. You get into the nicer 180 platforms, and the numbers goes up. Then you get into Ravens, $3,000 plus for an AR wannabe. Meanwhile, you get an AK wannabe for $1,100. It's not a cheap gun, but incredible value, especially versus what else is out there.
Even going the other way, thinking about an SKS, as you said, like SKSs can go for like $600 now. For an extra $500, so like you're getting something that is kind of like an AK platform, so which is I think a bonus there. Yeah, no. So for this we gave this a 4.5 out of 5. Again, we will be measuring this as a plinking rifle because it's not for hunting and it's not. I don't even know what our other category. It's hunting, plinking, and
Mystery.
Yeah, it's a plinking gun. I mean, you're taking this to the range. You're not taking dead milk with it or something.
Even the backpedal, just for a moment, let's put that SKS in the equation there. Oh, an SKS $600. How much money to spend on that SKS to make it on par with this, to give it detachable magazines? You're talking aftermarket stock. You have to convert it for a pistol grip, convert it for like detachable mags. You're spending money to fluff up an SKS to make it a worse version of a Type 81. So,
yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
A well-earned 4.5.
Speaking of well-earned, our next category is reliability. We took this out and fired over, it was 300 rounds exactly.
Yeah. In the rain, some of the whole factor, oh, it's wet, the grease is getting, diluted, mixed up.
Yeah, so it had a wet lap, and there was no malfunction whatsoever. Like nothing, not a stovepipe, not anything. The only issues we had were a few small issues with magazines, but we'll get to that after. But yeah, it was excellent, so
yeah.
There's actually nothing to say about it per se, because it just didn't mess up. So this is a 5 out of 5 for us. 5
out of 5, and even to comment, there was a 250 round break-in period. I'm not sure what needed to be broken in, and it just kept on chugging. It was awesome.
She's broken in now, so
Our next field of review is ammunition. This thing shoots 7.62 by 39, and as far as availability, everywhere has it, whether it's steel cased or it's non-corrosive Norinco, or God forbid you're putting hunting ammo through this thing, the Hornady SSTs, all that kind of stuff. Whatever your brand, there's some sort of ammo out there, almost every. You can even still get it at Canadian Tire. I saw they still have it at Canadian Tire.
That's wild.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. 5 out of 5 for availability. This isn't a niche wildcat. This is a mass-produced commercially available, and military surplus cartridge, depending on where you get it from.
That's true, and we can still get the Chinese stuff and the Russian stuff, so...
Why you always lying? Oh my gosh.
Well, maybe not.
Not so much.
Not so much Russian stuff anymore. Sorry, I misspoke. We could before, but you know, something happened.
Remember, no Russian.
Yeah, I mean, it's
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. It's been around forever. It's here. We've had SKSs in this country for forever too. So like, there's been a market for it.
Yeah.
So.
And good old Papa Norinco keeps pumping surplus and new manufacturing. So.
Oh, Papa Norinco, you wily bastard.
And on the ignition front, cost at 30 some odd cents to pushing 40 cents around for the cheap stuff. The only thing that beats it is handgun cartridges, and even then, select handgun cartridges are 22. There's no cheaper centerfire cartridge in the market. It's cheaper than 223 by like 50%.
Yep.
There's nothing cheaper that you can shoot that's a real rifle cartridge.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, of course, people are like, "Oh, but it's corrosive." Of course, it's corrosive. I mean, you're gone. There's like, you know, it's.
We even saw those Norinco non-corrosive. It was like $13 a box. If you're scared of the corrosive thing, it's still 70 cents around if you want to shoot non-corrosive. If you're cool with corrosive, 30 cents around.
I think people hear corrosive and think like, "Oh, it's gonna ruin my gun." It's like, not if you're cleaning it like you should be.
I can see your soul at the edges of your eyes. It's corrosive, like acid.
Like, you know. So, of course, the caveat for some being that, of course, it's cheap, but it's corrosive. So that's why it gets a 4.5 out of 5 for cost, which is great.
Yeah, excellent. And then, of course, the follow-up, can you reload for it? You can. There are dies available. You can find brass. You can find bore-correct bullets. Why would you bother?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's kind of interesting when you start looking at surplus ammunition, especially like Russian, you know, surplus, like based on the Russian, you know, round or something like that. It seems there's always like, hey, like I can get a bunch of, you know, ammo for my Mosin gun. Can I reload it? It's like, oh, well, Chuck, no, like you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, like you can do some real wizardry and reload steel case. I never will. There's no point in it.
No, and
go
back to the cost. It's so cheap, so
it'd be more expensive to buy brass and load nice rounds for it than to buy them off the shelf. You could, don't recommend it. So for that, I'll give it a 1 out of 2. Doable, but at the price point, why would you even bother?
Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody out there who like reloads 22, we'll say 22 shorts, and you're a maniac, and you probably reload this too. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So that's one.
Is that a tourniquet?
I'm hurt. Please help.
Where'd you get that tourniquet from?
S&J Hardware, but please call 911.
Wow, is that the new Tropical Thunder plate carrier from Rugged Textiles sold by S&J Hardware?
Yes, indeed, with level 4 steel plates. But please call 911.
How did you afford this?
Well, with the code FREEDOM5, you get 10% off site-wide.
Does that mean I could use it on camping gear?
Yes. Anything site-wide.
What about tactical gear?
Yes. Please help me.
You're gonna die.
Next, we have shootability, starting with accuracy. Now, something that we found, and I think we mentioned this potentially in the video, is this started to shoot to the left. This was right out of the box, no adjustments. You know, we went in naked and bare, and like we
naked and afraid.
Naked and afraid. Yeah, we rolled the dice. But with that being said, this was still much more accurate than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the whole left-right thing. I have an AK front sight tool, like 3 cranks.
It's correctable.
It'll very correctable, and the up-down straight. It's
right on. Like
its height was perfect.
Yeah, like we were. This is the thing is like it was stacking to the left, but it was stacking.
Yeah,
like once we. The first few, I think our first 5, like I had a few wild, shots there, but like once we started like getting used to it, and we were hitting the small plate there, which you'll probably see, and then hitting the bigger one at 100 yards pretty consistently, and that's with taking in that adjustment. So if we are able to adjust it, so it's and didn't you mention actually that it looks like it was a little canted to the left anyway?
Yeah, so the front post is actually offset to the right ever so slightly. What you think about it if it's too far to the right?
Oh, true, yeah.
To the left. So honestly, it might have just been a little offset from the factory. We'll crank it over like the 2 or 3 adjustments. It was spot on. But realistically, I'm going to say this is a 2 or 3 MOA gun. People on the internet have said, I get sub MOA. That might be a little wishful thinking. Mind you, this is with crappy surplus ammo. And some people say they're getting 5 MOA groups where, you know, at 100 yards they're already in a circle this big.
Yeah.
Maybe work on your, work on shooting.
Well, it's kind of tough too because I mean, this gun is not a long precision rifle. That's when people take something and be like, oh, this should be able to hit, like 800 yards. No, and even then, you're doing this with iron sight. We were just messing around with iron sights, and we were getting consistent hits. So something to keep in consideration there is that what is the gun's purpose? What is it able to do? And what are you able to do too? Because I'm not saying that everybody who missed
how you're aiming. If we put a red dot on this and we went and bought some Hornady SST, this might be a 1.5 or a 1 MOA gun.
Sure.
If you want to spend $2 a trigger pull and put an optic on there, we'll circle back to the optic point. Foreshadowing. But no, way more accurate than the internet was making it seem. This is definitely minute of go, minute of man.
This is a 4 out of 5 for us because, again, surprised.
Surprise, motherfucker.
I didn't expect it to hit as consistently. Maybe we're just getting more accurate in our range, but that's probably not bad. Moving on is recoil. Now, recoil is always an interesting one because it usually comes down to a combination of the cartridge and then the platform you're firing it from. In this case, 7.62 by 39 is not going to break anything on you. And this is already, it's not the heaviest gun.
8 pounds and change.
It's 8 pounds and change. It still has some weight to it, more than enough weight to mitigate that recoil. So really, when I was firing it, all I was feeling was the action going back.
The mass of the bolt going back, and then it's slapping forward on that giant spring. So the gun does move a little bit just with all that mass, reciprocating back and forth.
Yeah.
There's no giant concussion. The gun doesn't send you backwards. It's just the gun doing its little dance.
If you fired an SKS, you're not far off from this. So I believe we gave this a 4 out of 5 for its recoil. It's not going to hurt anybody unless you're holding it wrong. I don't know. Or you're firing without the stock and you got it right front check. I actually had one that came a little close. I was like, oh damn. But I like stocks on rifles. What can I say? But speaking of we'll say awkward shooting and stuff. Next is Manual of Arms. Now, Manual of Arms, no marks against this, but it is based off of the Kalashnikov, which is a strange thing to get used to if you're not, like for instance, the mags are a little weird. They're not like AR-15 mags or anything like that. The charging handles should be on the other side realistically, but as I said, it was not made by Eugene Stoner. It was made by Kalashnikov, so it's a little different. Yeah. So once you get used to that, it was pretty interesting. It's unique. Like it's everybody knows the whole it just feels good.
So you notice a couple tasteful mods on this thing. We have an oversized grip and a 3D printed cheek riser to give us a little bit of a better face weld, considering it's a folder and does not have a conventional stock. It feels dirty. It feels communist. But the whole, reach over, reach under, reach around.
Hey, yo!
You have your paddle to knock the mags off. You can do your dirty, mag against mag, kick the other one off. No. It's all pretty intuitive. It just is a little different than our more Western platforms. Like the perfect platform for me is the AR-15. Everything's a button. It's all in finger reach. You have your ambidextrous, everything. Yeah. This is completely serviceable, and in fact it does have its slight improvements over a Type 81, not Type 81, over a traditional AK. You have a more AR-style safety. You have the enlarged paddle for pulling mags. It's like a mildly improved AK, realistically. Yeah. So I think 3.5 is a very reasonable score.
Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. It's we're measuring this not just against itself. We're measuring this against the best. And is this the best? No, but it's serviceable, as you say. And I think it's for being something that's based on something from the 40s, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Speaking Manual of Arms with this, as with any good rifle, there's a few different ways of doing things. One thing that everybody will try and, maybe argue in the comments is, how do you actually load this? Some people go over, some people go under.
Some people in between.
Who's right, who's wrong? That's wrong. But, even something that we noticed is how we actually orient our mags in our, say, 10-cent Chicom carrier and much nicer one.
Helicon Tex.
Helicon Tex. Maybe link in the
Sponsor us, please.
I like to have mine with the ammo up, whereas I can just grab it like this, whereas he does it backwards.
Yeah, I have my bullets oriented down, so I can just go.
Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's to say? It's probably me.
Comment below.
Yeah, let us know who's right, because
Get nasty about it. Tell me I'm stupid.
bullets go on the top, dummy.
Your bullets are in backwards. Duh.
Next is maneuverability. As Nate said, this is about 8 and a bit pounds, which is not crazy.
It's lighter than a Crusader Arms Templar.
Sure. There you go. And,
$500 cheaper.
maneuverability, it's pretty maneuverable. It has the collapsible stock, which is interesting, which I guess technically makes it more maneuverable if you want to fire it without the stock. Wouldn't recommend it. Not
For the memes.
for the means,
Sure.
But in terms of like actual, like, hey, I'm gonna hit that at 100 yards. Like, I need to be as maneuverable as I can. It's like, we just put that stock back.
No, if you have the stock folded and you plan on shooting, you're shooting bipedal mammals at 10 yards or less.
Yeah.
Inside of a corridor kind of situation.
Yeah, your MOA opens up from this to like.
Unless you're running the steady hand perk and then your hip fire
Well, yeah.
comes in.
Yeah.
That's an old joke. People that played Call of Duty 4 or no, Modern Warfare 1.
We're old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a while.
Gen Alphas, like, what are those?
But yeah, it's plenty maneuverable. It's not, you know, crazy. It's not like
It's
something.
on the upper end, but it could be lighter. It could be a
Sure.
little more modular, but
Yeah.
it's a smaller form factor than an equivalent barrel length AR. Like, it's
Those are big words for you. That was well put together, you know. So we're gonna go 4 out of 5 for maneuverability. Is it a Kui 39? No, but it also, well, it's also not a Kui 39 in a lot of ways, you know. So, but yeah.
So up next, we have firepower. And there's a few kind of subcategories to this. First and foremost, power. How powerful is 7.62 by 39? It's essentially a 30-30 in a different form factor. You could drop deer with it. People have killed moose with 30-30. I don't know if I'd be so bold to attempt that.
Yeah.
But for bipedal mammals, that's plenty. That's
true.
You know, the Russians say it's effective up to 600 yards. I maybe keep it 400 yards and in, being a dirty civilian. It's powerful enough. It's as close to a full power kind of rifle cartridge as you're going to get in something relatively compact. Unless you're jumping up to like, you know, 308 or something more substantial. This is as powerful as it gets in a, you know, combat weapon.
It's true, and as you said earlier, it's actually based off of the 8mm Kurtz ammunition from World War II, from the SG-44, which is an intermediary cartridge. It's not actually a full rifle cartridge. So don't expect, you know, like, again, with the whole moose thing, like, that's a lot of animal to bring down with something that's not even technically like a full-bore rifle cartridge. So is it going to do, you know, everything? No, but no round does everything. 7.62 by 39 is plenty capable. There's plenty of stories, especially in like the Vietnam War, of it actually being able to go through so much of the foliage and like trees and all that. Like, because it's got that bullet weight. Like, it's actually
Steel core cartridge.
Steel core cartridge is actually like, you know, so it's performed over the years. It's just an argument for being a weapon of mass destruction for how many, you know, things it's done over the years.
Yeah, it's been turning cover into concealment for 70 years. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah, so for power, 2.5 out of 5 I think is completely reasonable.
Yeah.
Any more, you're pushing your luck.
Middle of the road cartridge, middle of the road
Performance.
power.
Yeah.
So.
You get what you get. Past that, rate of fire. We're not the quickest gun in the West. I'm no Doc Holliday. But this thing runs as quick as you can run it. There's no chunk or delay to the action. It bang, bang, bang. And especially, you know, you throw a compensator on this, you get it sitting nice and flat. You can just rip rounds through this, I'm sure, if you wanted to. Again, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Honestly, yeah, it's, you know, again, we're not spoiled when it comes to being able to fire, we'll say, quicker than trigger pulls in Canada, you know, single pulls.
Or that fully semi-automatic rifles, though.
Right, those fully semi-automatic revolving death handgun, whatever. Yeah, no, I don't know where we're going with that. But, so yeah. So I think we gave this a 5 out of 5 for a rate of fire. You can pull it, if we took the Wildcat again and took this, like, would the Wildcat fire a little quicker? Probably, because you're not dealing with the recoil as much, but like, this for what it is, 100%. Like, it's as fast as you can shoot in Canada, so.
And just once you get more accustomed to it and we get it dialed in, you'll be singing along. It's playing fast for your average Joe. Speaking of average Joe, capacity Big womp womp. We're in Canada. We're allowed these big old magazines pinned to 5. It's only allowed 5. And as of right now, there are no cool loophole mags. There's no pistol mags that fit in here. You're stuck with 5. You're stuck with 5. You're stuck with 5. So according to that, we're limited to a score, which we thought of 3. It's all we can get. There's no cool bonuses, no cool extras. There's no way to sneak. I mean, you put a round in the chamber and then put your mag in. You're at 6.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's only so much we could do. We've actually considered pulling capacity from our reviews, especially on semi-automatics. Especially now that guns that hold over 5 are C21.
Yeah.
So we might actually be running out of semi-automatic weapons that could hold more than 5 in general, or hold 5 or more in general.
It's tough. Send help. We need help.
Someone annex us.
Yeah. 51st state.
Philippines rises to the occasion. the northern colony.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much. We're kind of, we're kind of stuck in a corner with capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So speaking of capacity, we wanted to go through our experiences with the magazines. So we have more or less 4 types of mag. Well,
main ones.
Yeah.
Like,
there's plastic and non-plastic are the big categories. As you may or may not see, I hope you don't show too much of it. I actually struggled at first getting the metal mags in, because the lip on them, at least on some of them, was a little. It was like a little more of a nub than. Some of them were actually like they didn't stick out quite as much. Weirdly, so I was actually having a little issue rocking them. Again, that could have just been inexperience with the gun. As we were shooting, like we got a lot better with it. But yeah, metal mags, they feel so cool. Like once you had to load it, I had them loaded up in the carrier. Like it was
they
really
feel authentic. They look authentic. It's just OG com block banana mags.
Yeah. But one similarity with all these mags that I found is they're not necessarily the greatest. Even as you're loading them, some of the rounds would kind of like slip in and around, and like I almost had to like load them upside down so that gravity was kind of trying to help as much as possible.
Well, that old Vietnam, clink clink to set the bullets.
We were doing that, like legitimately, like after almost every load, just to make sure.
And, that could just be our inexperience running AK mags. I mean, previously I shot ARs plenty. Surprise, surprise, this is my first foray into something that takes rock and lock banana mags. A bit of a learning curve if you've never done it before. I do think with experience, even just throughout the duration of our shoot, first couple mags, a little shaky, had some Michael J. Fox kind of symptoms going on. By the end, we're singing along pretty okay. And that was a single day of shooting. Yeah. Give us 6 months and I'm sure it'll be dialed in.
Yeah, this is day 1. I dare you guys to film yourselves the first time that you're out shooting things. Okay, Mr. Perfect.
Well, you get these, the goats of the gun tube community. They shoot thousands of rounds before they review the gun.
Yeah.
We literally started from round 1 was on camera.
Yeah.
Straight through to the 300th round.
You see our trash rounds, our trash reloads. So,
yeah. You see our mulligans. You see
we
our
bleed for you. But
are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
But one thing that you were saying about the P-bags and stuff is actually in terms of loading it with the bolt closed, right? You want to go through that?
Yes. So this thing has a last round bolt hold open, which is actuated by this little niblet in the back of the magazine. And that's for the factory mag. So you shoot it, bang, locks open, and you can feed in your next stick, close the bolt, ready to go. With these, we'll say converted third-party mags, we chopped up P-mags, we chopped up Palm Spring mags, and we chopped up some fake lights, because they're not real Bakelights, but they look good enough to show the YouTube people. You can fit 5 rounds in these, but they're pinned, and I would dare say they're pinned a little too tight. So that 5th round is barely getting into the magazine, and you can't actually insert it on a closed bolt. Now with these, you won't get the last round bolt hold open. So sometimes you have to get a little janky and you do an Iraqi reload, or intentionally underload your polymer mags so you can seat them on an empty on a closed bolt, rack your bolt, and get to work.
Just take the pin out. Problem solved.
Can't you say goodbye to your dog before that goes down?
Police over.
Or another option is you can always start your party off with a metal mag, so it locks open, and then you go onto your third-party mag and let it go. We're going to look at the technicality of this. Some people have said you can get them repinned. We're not going to do it ourselves. We're not here to spend.
We're gonna roll the dice on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Step 1, take the pen out. I was like, oh, hold up there. Hold
Not
up
around here, brother. Not around here.
Wait a minute.
So that's something we're going to explore, or consult some people that are actual professionals and say, hey, what's the process to repin? Because even another millimeter down would take that tension off of the top round, so it's not popping out of the dang magazine.
Yeah.
And then we get some more functionality out of them. But again, that's something we're going to explore. Don't chop up your magazines and pull the pins out. Don't go to jail.
Yeah.
Be smart.
We actually started loading some of these up to 4.
Underload them and they work just fine.
One thing with the Iraqi reload, I kind of made fun of it, and for those who don't know, we probably have some footage of it too.
Do you want to demonstrate?
Wow, where'd this come from? Is where you actually hold the bolt and then do the reload and letting the bolt go, as opposed to, having it rock back. But not as bad.
No,
It was
unconventional, but
unconventional, weird,
fun,
Iraqi.
niche.
I don't know. Am I Republican Guard now?
Papa Saddam's going to visit you.
Yeah. Another note: the fake lights kind of cut my fingers a little bit. That's just a little personal.
Well, I also cut those with a hacksaw, so I'm sure the
it
little
was
bit
him. Bastard.
So yeah, word to the wise: be nice to yourself. Take the edges down nice when you're cutting up magazines. Give yourself a more pleasant experience. Take that 3 seconds of the file. Some of them could use a little more TLC.
You gonna kiss my boo-boos better? Or?
I don't get paid for that. We don't have health insurance.
You get paid?
Now, finally, X Factor. You've all been waiting for it. Does this deserve X Factor? Yes, indeed it does. Yeah. We gave it not only 1, but 2 points. First off, it frickin' folds. That is nifty.
Frickin' folds.
It frickin' folds, bud. That's super cool for storage. It's cool for, the meme shooting. You can run it on a sling and walk around like you're guarding, some third world dictator's palace. It's a cool feature. Makes storage and can travel easy. Not very many other guns get this option. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
Now, some are going to call it a cop-out, but the second X Factor is it's as close to an AK as we're ever going to get in Canada, unless we, devolve back to, 1930s no-gun laws.
It's cool! We don't get this stuff.
No, in versus, the M&M 10X, which is hot garbage, this is, a real AK. That's, a hodgepodge of different designs that looks kind of like an AK. This is so close to a real AK, sure it has SKS influence. I'm sure some nerd's going to go break down the, micro differences. Oh, it actually takes influence from the Type 56 and the gas system, and only aesthetically,
It probably does, to be honest. It's Chinese, so, that makes sense. Yeah.
No, they took designs from the SKS and the AK and blended it into one. Still looks like an AK. I'm going to treat it like an AK. You know what? Doesn't need to know its descendants were from an SKS.
Makes you think you're going to treat it badly. Treat it like an AK. Dirt, mud.
How sad is that we're excited to have things that are almost AKs?
We take what we can get, man. I mean,
exactly. I know. In the land of not so free, that's as close as we're getting to, the gun from Wolverine, Wolverines! The gun from Lord of War, this is...
Bring me the gun of Rambo. Yeah. No, I mean, this was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, playing with this. Yeah, playing with it. I mean, once you're being safe, you can call it playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with all that, and this being in the plinking category again, this got a 78 out of a possible 100, which, if that would be the highest test score in my house, bringing my report card home. So, yeah, I think it's an excellent rifle.
Is it a perfect gun?
No.
Is it amazing for the value? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make that deal. How about you, bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Absolutely. If you don't own one, comment below why you haven't bought one yet. Because we're judging.
We're judging.
You can borrow one.
Yeah. My dad's got one.
My big brother could beat up your big brother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, this is a lot of fun. Is it the Trash Blaster 9000? Probably.
It might be the Trash Blaster 9000.
You need to blast some trash.
Absolutely. And we're going to take it through its paces some more. We're going to shoot it, keep giving you guys the content you want and deserve. We might even do a side-by-side, this versus other generations of Type 81. Comment below if you want to see that.
Also, this is not the last iteration of this gun even, perhaps. And also, if you want to know more about magazines and do maybe a magazine breakdown, comment below, let us know, because I think there's a lot of, there's some delving to do there. So,
there's more coming in the mail, actually. So.
Yeah. Holy shit. You have a problem.
It's called having a credit card.
That's not what it's called. But, yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and keep your sights fixed on Barely Tactical, and we'll catch you next time.
Well, I think it's fair to say we don't need to use this as a unit of measurement. This is